Cheerios spilled all over the floor. I'd be like, Arrow, what happened? We need to clean this up. She said, I didn't do it. Riot did, our dog, okay? I know she can't open drawers. I've had her 11 years. Hello, how are you? No, really, how are you doing? Because if you're in this phase or you just went through this phase, it's a lot. I'm not gonna scare you, but I keep it real. Throughout my motherhood journey, I always share a recap video with my tips, advice, milestones, everything in between. I did one for 0 to 1, 1 to 2, and this one is gonna be like the preschooler phase, 2 to 4. As always, we are a community here, and just because something works for me or works for my child does not mean that is the only way to go. I am always open to hearing your tips, advice, thoughts in the comments down below. I always keep that in mind when making my videos, and I hope you keep that in mind in the comments down below because I don't want any mom shaming. We are not here for that. Number 1 is going to be potty training. I do have a full video on potty training. I think we did it at 2.5, and it's just because my daughter was showing signs of readiness. And we did the 3-day rule, which I did talk about in my last video. I talked about future plans, and girl, we did it. We did that. It took longer than 3 days, like the training process was 3 days, but were we potty trained after 3 days? No, but we had the ground rules done and set. And I would say after about a month, there would be like little accidents here and there, but now, like, done. But is any human fully potty trained? Because I've seen adults pee themselves, so who knows? Accidents always happen. Number 2, the Paci fairy, or just getting rid of the Paci in general. The Paci fairy is what we use, and of course this is only going to be relevant to you if you have a little one that used a Paci. I have a lot of mom friends who tried to have their child use a Paci and they just never took. A lot of times they became the human Paci, if you know what I mean, but my girl was a Paci girl. Out of everything for me, getting rid of the Paci was the scariest. Like, my daughter never took to a bottle. Even when I transitioned to off breastfeeding, she didn't want milk or a bottle. She just loved her Paci for her sleep routine, and we use it in the car. So there was structure in place, but those particular times, the Paci was so necessary. And for the Paci fairy to work with our situation, I think it could work for anyone. There was a book that I read probably every night for 3 months to prepare her for the Paci fairy. I will link it down below. And I think that really got her excited, which is why I read the book for 3 months. And with reading the book, anytime we go to the store or I, open Amazon, I'd say, hey, the Paci fairy's been asking what presents you want for your Pacis. Can we take a picture, or what can I send to her? And this really got her excited because gifts is her love language. Like, even with her toys, she'll gift me things. No matter your little one's love language, I think the Paci fairy is the way to go. I don't think the cutting it thing would have worked. I needed a plan and not to trick her. I mean, the Paci fairy is in a way still a trick, but you do get a treat. If you just cut the Paci until it's like, oh no, they're all broken, my daughter would be like, then let's go buy a new one. What are you doing, Mom? You really gotta amp it up, make it worth it. And let me say, the day the Paci fairy did come, my daughter has not asked for it one time. She totally understood that when we put the Pacis outside her door in the basket, that the basket would be full of gifts, and she was like, okay, sweet deal, never asking again. It did make bedtime more difficult, but she still never ever asked for it. Number 3 is gonna be chore charts. This is only 2 weeks in for us, but I wish I had done this sooner. It has been game changing. I don't know, I grew up with a chore chart, and I don't know why I didn't think of it sooner, but I noticed in her preschool, they did a star system, and I saw how well my child was responding to this, and so I went ahead and I found the perfect chore chart for this age because they already have the different chores and treats assembled that make sense for this age range. The vibe of pick up your toys, brush your teeth, get ready for school, things like that. Doable things. You don't want to give your child a chore that they can't actually achieve. You want to put some easy stuff on there too that they already know how to do, so they feel a sense of accomplishment, and then they can try those things you didn't really have in your routine, and they're like, well, I can do this, so like, I got this. I had no idea how well this would work. The star game, she gets her stars all day, every single day. She's obsessed with it. What I ended up having to do, because she would complete a task, she would come home from school and she would immediately want to go run and put up a star, and she'd try to knock everything out in like 15 minutes. And I had to kind of come up with a plan that, no, picking up your toys is an all-day thing. Cleaning up is an all-day thing. My tip would be is, you know, I mentioned the stars all day long, like you're gonna get a star for that at the end of the day. And then before bedtime, I have her go through and we check everything off, put stars on a little Velcro board. And then the last one is always brush your teeth. It's almost part of our bedtime routine. So then I have her run and go brush her teeth, and I'm like, oh my God, you're gonna get the last star. And we do the last star. I cannot tell you enough, this is the absolute best thing I have invested in that really I didn't think was gonna be a big deal, but it's game changing. My daughter is cleaning up, she's picking up her toys, and she's doing it like almost naturally now, and it's only been 2 weeks. Number 4, I never say no without giving an explanation why. As a parent, you are gonna say no a lot because your little one is learning, they're trying new things, they're becoming independent, they are prone to destroying things, making messes, pushing limits, and you know, you're gonna say, no, don't run out in the street. No, don't come by the stove. No, don't put my makeup brushes in the toilet. And I realized that just saying no is not enough for your little one to stop doing the action unless you follow up with the reason why you are saying no. So if my little one is coming close to the stove and I'm cooking, I say, no, because the stove is too hot. You can get a boo-boo and burn yourself. Mommy doesn't want you to get hurt. Ever since I started doing this, my daughter hears the explanation, she can critically think about it and say, yes, that makes sense. No, I will not touch it. And she actually follows through because she understands, and it's not just a mysterious thing. Number 5, sleep regressions do not stop. They just change, and I swear once you get into like a good solid routine, boom, you gotta switch it up. I always had an amazing sleep routine. I had an independent sleeper. Family and friends were always amazed whenever my little one would just hear the sleepy alarm go off and run to bed, read a book, and she'd go to sleep. Well, that lasted, you know, a good amount of time, but I would say around 3, there was a new kind of sleep regression of her realizing that sleeping with me would actually probably be more fun. I think what kickstarted this is it was one night my daughter was sick, like pretty sick, and I decided to sleep in her bed with her. And usually if I tried to sleep with her, which I had in the past because I kind of wanted that moment, she just would not sleep. She literally had to be alone to fall asleep, and she would fall asleep immediately. So I was like, okay, I'm just being selfish at this point. But I did sleep with her when she was sick. She was so sick she passed out. And then ever since then, I think something clicked in her and she was like, whoa, sleeping with mom is dope. The Paci was long gone. I couldn't fall back on that. And so I have a couple tips on things you can do if you're trying to break the co-sleeping habit. The first is this bear. I think it's from the brand Warmies. But if you've ever seen those like aromatherapy pillows you put in the microwave and then they feel warm, they have little beads inside them and they smell like of lavender or something relaxing, they have stuffed animals for kids like that, and so I would give her that to cuddle with. I also put the light on the Hatch machine. I let her pick which color light she has every night. I also lowered the sound machine because I am trying to eliminate that. But if you are experiencing a sleep regression for whatever reason between like 3 and 4, I would definitely suggest a new little stuffy or warming spare. having a night light. You don't have to buy one if you already have the Hatch machine. You can just like control it from your phone. And working down on the sound, because I just asked her and she said, I don't know if I really like it. And I heard that developmentally, it's not great to have it go on throughout their childhood. So eliminating that. Does it always work? No, it works most of the time, and I feel like that's everything in parenthood. You can't rely on anything consistently. Number 6, no more YouTube, which is ironic as a YouTuber, but let me just say, if you have really taken notice of what is on just the kids portion of YouTube, it is 99% awful. She was just younger and we were doing Miss Rachel or anything really based on learning how to speak. I felt like it was so great. But now I've been seeing in the ages of 2 to 4 what's geared towards them. I mean, it's pretty bad what's on the kids app. Also, the ads in general are not necessarily kid friendly, and it's garbage. It's brain rot, not good. And so I just deleted the YouTube app from all of my devices. I said, YouTube isn't here anymore. I'll have to explain that to her one day. But yeah, it's just not safe for kids, in my opinion. I'm sure there's some great channels, but if it just autoplays something else, I can't. I am not a no screen time mom. There's a time and a place for it most days, definitely. And I only pretend that Netflix and Disney exist. Movies I feel like are really great, but we're just getting to the attention span of doing a full movie. One of my goals is to take her to the movies, and I think we might be there maybe in like a month. I think Inside Out 2 is coming out, and I'm like, I want to see that for me. That's a good movie. Number 7, activities and classes for this age range. In my previous video, I said that we were doing a gym class, and if you live in like the Santa Monica, West LA area, we don't go there anymore. And I didn't mention it in the other one because we were still going, but it is called Apex in Santa Monica, or it might be on the cusp, whatever it is. It is the best gym class in the LA area. There's also my gym, which is still pretty great, but the owner of Apex, I couldn't say enough things. I wish we still lived in that area to go there, but at least now I can mention it. I think from 1 to 2.5, if you want to get out, meet new moms, have your child socialing, learning motor skills, these little kid gym classes are so great. They're so fun. It was the highlight of my week. We sometimes go like 2 or 3 times a week. Probably around the ages of 3-ish. And again, you can start things at any time, but I just felt like this worked really great for us, is to then move into something that's more like one activity based. This could be dance class, this could be soccer, whatever you think your child is showing interest in. And at this time, like around 3-ish, your kid will probably have an affinity towards something. And I noticed my daughter was already dancing, and so I suggested it, and she loves a good dress. She loves a good tutu. She was all about it. And I think that was a great second activity. Now that dance has ended, I'm looking for a summer activity, and I am 100% going to do a swim class. I do wish I did this earlier. This is one of those things that you can do like 3 months. I see some kids learning. Never too late to start. I literally didn't learn how to swim until I was 7 or 8. Just nobody taught me. And we've never owned a pool, so it hasn't been, you know, it hasn't really been on my mind. But all of her friends know how to swim. We just went to Hawaii, and I just see how important just for safety in general. So whatever your child shows an interest in, this is the time to, you know, try different things out. I would suggest doing the swimming earlier, but hey, that's just what's going on here. In my 1 to 2 overview video, I said a whole section on to prepare myself for what I can see is slowly happening, which is we have a smart, independent child who is trying to push limits, learn choices, learn wants and needs and musts and no and yes. For ages 2 to 4, I renamed it with leads with independence and is getting crafty with pushing limits. It was so funny to hear me talk about it in the previous video because I didn't realize how much stuff has changed. There's zero way of me being able to pick out my daughter's outfit. She is in charge. She knows what to wear. She owns that lane and I let her express herself as long as, you know, she's not gonna be freezing. I need it to be weather appropriate. If she's going to get a snack, she's gonna open it first. She's gonna try. And I say, can I help you? She said, no, I'm doing it. And then if she can't, she'll then ask for help. And this goes for everything. Putting on shoes, putting on socks. I'm like, do you need help? No, until sometimes she does and then she asks for help. And the getting crafty with pushing limits now is the best way to describe it. I feel like if, you know, AI, if you're talking to AI and it's, you know, just basic AI, you have little conversations, it's just silly and cute, and then, you know, the AI is, you know, working behind the scenes and observing and listening and growing until eventually it's smarter than you think it is and it's almost in charge and it's gonna take over the world and you've lost total control. That is kind of like the switch from 2 to 4 is just suddenly one day I didn't realize how smart and crafty she was, and she, you know, she broke me. Just one little example, if my daughter is going through her snack drawer and I'm about to prep like lunch or dinner and it's 10 minutes away and I say, no, not right now, we're gonna have dinner first, you can have one later. This girl goes, gets a snack for her and a snack for me and brings it to me, and she said, Mommy, you look hungry. Here, have a snack. And I'm just like, how sweet, how cute. But I know what she's trying to do. She's trying to get me to eat a snack so then she can eat her snack. Also, somehow she's learned how to do puppy dog eyes and say, please, Mommy, I love you. Like if I'm taking her to school and I'm like, you know, we gotta go. And she goes, Mommy, please, 15 more minutes. I want to hug and cuddle you. I love you so much, because she wants to watch her show. I know what she's trying to do. Or if there's a mess and it's obviously done by a human and it's just the two of us home, Cheerios spilled all over the floor, be like, Arrow, what happened? We need to clean this up. She said, I didn't do it. Riot did, our dog, okay? I know she can't open drawers. I've had her 11 years. She doesn't open drawers. Girl's lying. She's blaming stuff. How did she learn how to lie? How did she learn all these things? Number 9, I think, another throwback to the other video, but preschool. Do I want to do Waldorf or Montessori? I was looking into all different options. And at 2.5, we did do a version of preschool that was just, I think it was 2 hours long, but it was parent and me preschool. I think they actually called it a toddler program, but we did do Waldorf and I think that was really great. I did love it, but Waldorf was so expensive. I was also living in a very expensive area at that time, like college tuition, but the parent program was at like insanely inexpensive. I think they were trying to get people in very cheap, and then the next year it was like a new car. And such an LA thing, I never mentioned this, but the Waldorf school we did try, I won't say who, you can guess, but one of the moms there was one of the main cast members of Gossip Girl, and one of the dads was one of the main characters for the OC. But with Waldorf, the parents that were there were told to not speak about real life, work, adult things. You were there just to talk about like nature or the kids, and so I couldn't really say anything, but I did help one of them send a DM because they didn't know how. She didn't know I did what I did, but I think she just saw me and thought, this girl could send a DM. But we have found a preschool in a cheaper part of LA that has been amazing. It is more academic based, which I think is really great for my child because she's just very analytical. She loves puzzles. She loves numbers. She can already spell and write her name. And she's not even 4 yet, which I think is incredible. Again, every kid does everything differently. I know not everyone is a preschool person, even an organized school person. A lot of people homeschool. There's no one right way to do it, but worked for us. We figured it out. Call back to old me. I have recently been looking into preschool options. We did figure it out. Number 10, I want to speak with my top toy buys for these ages. I actually feel like I've been buying a lot less toys than I was in the beginning. A lot of the stuff I did buy, we still use, like her makeup vanity, her toy storage area, her nuggets, like even a lot of the same toys. The books, you know, have expanded and grown. We have a big book collection. The things I did get between 2 and 4 that I feel like every single kid would love, and they are so strong in our routine. One of them is the Toonie box. Pretty much it is a box that you buy different caricatures, and when you put them, they magnetize and they play like a full album. And whenever my daughter gets home from school, her routine, she walks right in and she starts playing her jams. But I love it. It's cushiony, it's indestructible. Your child has authority of what they want to listen to. They can jam out. There's also just like documentary storybooks on there. We did have it for a while until I feel like she utilized it every single day, and I feel like that happened at 3.5. So I feel like that's a good age to get the Toonie box. Number 2 is gonna be puzzles. You know, there's always like the little wooden ones where there's like 5 pieces that, you know, maybe like under 2 will do. My daughter was kind of into that, but then when she was at school, I noticed she was doing very big puzzles, or much more difficult than I thought she could do. And I ended up buying a whole bunch of puzzles, and that is one of the #1 things we like to play together. And I like it because it's pretty quiet and relaxing. It's not overstimulating unless the Toonie box is blasting like Wheels on the Bus, which it probably is. But I will link some of our favorite puzzles down below. I just think it's great for their mind. It's good, you know, spatial reasoning, critical thinking. No screens are involved with any of this. It doesn't make noise. All this is a win in my book. This next one I have talked about before, but mix tiles, the magnetic tiles. Why am I getting the name wrong? I think it's Mix Tiles. You can get the original brand. On Amazon, there are cheaper versions. Even if you have each set, they all work together. They're magnets. But it is a hit with every kid I know. If I know a kid doesn't have it, I'm going to their birthday party. That is what I am getting the kid, regardless of the age. I would say we play with it almost every day for 2 years, and it grows with them because you can make very basic things at first. And now when I'm telling you, my child makes extravagant castles and like farms and barns with like a patio and balconies. She does these unique little diamond things. Honestly, she puts together way cooler, intricate, weird diamond shape things that would not be in my head to create. She's making, and I think, you know, one day she could be an architect just because of these magnetic tiles. Let me know if you enjoyed today's video. Again, we are community. If you have any other tips, advice, knowledge, or hopes for the future, leave them in the comments down below, and I will see you guys next week. I love you. Bye.